Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is Tracy and Doss. Today we're going to get into one of my all-time favorite documentaries. It's one of those great Fatal Attraction type documentaries, and it makes my last one look like a cakewalk. This documentary is called Stalker Killer, and before we get into it, I just wanted to mention this video is for entertainment purposes only, so please like, share, and subscribe and help me build my channel. The first character that we're going to discuss is the main love interest of the whole documentary. His name is Dave Krupa, and he is a big, strapping young man, 35 years old. He's a mechanic. He works on trucks, and he has just recently split up from his longtime girlfriend and baby mama, and he is on his own. And he's moved to a new town, and he is starting his life over. He decides to get on the dating apps like most people do when they're in that situation, and he joins Plenty of Fish, and he puts his profile out there, and he gets plenty of fish. The very first response he gets, her name is Liz, and they start to spend some time together. They have a lot of fun, but it's a very casual relationship. He's not looking for anything serious. In fact, this is his first date that he's been on in a really long time. But he and Liz are kind of friends with benefits. They go out to the bars, and they just enjoy each other's company, but again, nothing serious, and he's still looking. And then one day, Carrie Farver walks into his work, and she is a knockout. He thinks she's gorgeous, but doesn't really exchange a phone number or anything. He's still a little shy and reserved about dating, but he does, it does pique his interest for sure. A couple weeks later, he's on the dating apps, and who does he see but Carrie? So he reaches out, says, hi, I think we know each other. She says, hi, I think we do too. And they decide to go out on their first date. And it's a good date. They have a nice time, and they start spending a lot of time together because her job is just 3 blocks away from his house. It's very convenient, and they just like each other. So one night when she's at his house, Liz drops in unexpectedly, and he quickly has Carrie leave. He doesn't want a confrontation, and he ends up going over to Carrie's after Liz leaves. He just kind of gets her in and out. She says she left something there, so it's just real quick. And he called Carrie immediately, and she said, yeah, come on over to my house. And they were just having a nice time, and she at that point said, I don't want anything serious right now either, so they were really on the same page. So shortly after Liz had stopped by and they had had that conversation, Carrie had spent the night at his house, and he gets up early to work. He goes off to work, and she's still sleeping, and he gets a text from her saying, hey, let's move in together. And he is floored. He's like, wait, what? We just had this conversation. And that's what he told her. He said, I don't understand. We just had this conversation that we were going to keep this casual. And she starts bombarding him with texts. She says, I'm going to destroy you, and all the things that you care about, and your life will be ruined, just like you ruined mine. And this was not the same person that he had been spending time with. He was really concerned and really shocked by her behavior. And he didn't see her after that. He just figured, okay, well, that she showed her true colors, and that was it for a couple days anyway. And then after a couple days, more and more aggressive text, and they got worse. So the next interview that we see in the documentary is Carrie's mom, and she has filled out a missing persons file because she hasn't heard from her daughter. She hasn't seen her daughter, and she starts to get very concerned. She tells the police Carrie had recently started dating a gentleman, and she told them his name, where he worked, and so they went over to interview Dave. And Dave showed the texts that he got from Carrie and let him know that she just kind of turned on him, got kind of psycho, and then they stopped seeing each other. And that was kind of where it left off. So Liz ends up reaching out to Dave and showing him that her car got keyed, and then she was getting these really aggressive and mean texts from Carrie, and they kind of rekindled their friends with benefits, so to speak. But things didn't let up for Dave at all. He was getting over 100 texts from Carrie a day, just telling him how much she was angry with him and that he ruined her life, and just really nasty messages. So Dave meets with Detective Chris LaGrove, and he starts to show the texts, and they realized that initially they were coming from Carrie's phone, but then they started coming from multiple phones. And this is when the detective started surveillance. And one of the texts that Dave received said, this is the address that I'm at. And they were looking for Carrie because all of these texts and the harassment of Liz. So she gives them the address 11618 Burt Street, apartment 12. So Dave realizes that's just a couple blocks away from his house. So he heads on over there to confront Carrie, and he gets to the apartment and he starts looking at the numbers, 1, 5, 7, 9. There's no 12. He gets to where there should be apartment 12, and there is no 12, and he realizes she's totally messing with him. But she's also watching him, and this is just really concerning to him. So this is when he starts to get more concerned, and then all of a sudden he gets pictures from inside Liz's apartment. And he realizes Carrie is in his friend's apartment, and she had painted horror on the wall in red, and she stabbed a bunch of Liz's clothes. They basically started trauma bonding, and they had a lot in common. This woman was harassing both of them. And now it's been about a year, and the detectives believe that they have enough evidence to arrest Carrie. The breaking in and all the harassment has escalated so much that they feel that they can get her on some charges. And that's when Carrie lights Liz's house on fire. And not only does she light the house on fire, but the pets perish inside the house. It's really a horrible situation, and now they are definitely looking for this woman. They are going to find her. They have tons of charges on her now, but they just they can't seem to find her. So Dave has had it. He changes his phone, he changes his house, he changes his job, and he is just trying to move on from this horrible nightmare that he's in. And 1 year after Dave moves, this incident is taken on by two new sergeants. Jim Doty is from Potawatomi County, and he's gonna get involved. He sees this case, it seems really interesting. So him and his other buddy, Ryan Avis, take on this case. And there's so much information. I mean, this has been going on for 2 years. It's been since 2012 and since anyone's even seen Carrie. And now these two are wondering, like, is she even alive? I mean, nobody's seen or heard from her in 2 years. She hasn't even used her credit cards, and she hasn't checked in with her mom or her son. They're just not so sure if she's around anymore. So they decide to start looking at clues to see if she's still here. So Dave tries to start dating again. It's been a while. He's in a different location, different job, and he feels ready to put his profile back out there again, but he does it in a completely different town on a completely different dating website. Somebody immediately catches his eye and they arrange to meet up. So Dave goes out to this diner and he's waiting for his date to arrive, and she isn't there, and he's waiting and waiting, and she texts him and says, "I'm sorry, I'm running late." So he stays and waits longer, and then all of a sudden he gets this text from Carrie saying, you know, "F you, I can't believe you, how dare you," and this, that, and the other. And he's like, can't believe that he somehow let this woman back into his life. So Amy, Dave's ex, somehow becomes the new target of Carrie. One day at the park, Amy gets a text from Carrie, and it seems as if she is watching her and her kids. She knows what they're wearing, she knows what they're doing, and she's threatening to slit those children's throats when they're asleep. And this gets Amy all sort of upset, and she now knows that they're in grave danger. Dave's dad even gets Dave a gun because he's so scared for everybody's life. And that's when they hire Tony Cava, an IT guy. They want to go over everybody's phones and electronic devices and see what they can find, and see, you know, maybe they can find the location of Carrie so they can arrest her. And when they do a little research, the IT address is tracked. And the phone is tracked to Council Bluffs, Iowa. And the IP address is attached to a Todd Butterbaugh. Now, they go out to talk to Todd, and he tells them that his girlfriend's been staying with them because her house burned down recently. And that's when they discover that Liz was the girlfriend, and she'd been staying there for off and on for years, and she'd been using his Wi-Fi. And everything forensically pointed to Liz, and that Liz was impersonating Carrie, and it had been her the whole time. They tell Dave. Dave cannot believe what he's hearing. He's trying to like piece all the parts together and make sense of it all, but it's a struggle. I mean, this whole time he thought this was Carrie doing these things, and all along it was Liz, and she had him so convinced that it was Carrie that he was trying to figure out the timeline. There was a picture of Carrie's car taken on Christmas on Liz's phone, and this was before the car was recovered, and the police had found it on January 13th, 2013. There was also a fingerprint that was found on a mint container inside Carrie's car of Liz. So a lot of things pointing to Liz, and they're building their case. So they put a tracker on Liz, and they notice that she's been circling Amy's house. And this is really concerning to them. After the threat she made on the kids and on Amy, saying it was Carrie, but now we know it was Liz the whole time, that they tell Dave that he should move back into the house, and he should protect his ex-girlfriend and his kids. But really, Ryan, who suggested this, knew that this would make Liz super angry, and she would be really frustrated. So after they discover that Liz is circling Amy and the kids, Dave discovers that somebody has stole his gun. And this becomes really concerning to him. Around the same time that he discovers this, Liz calls 911, and Liz says she's been shot by a woman and she's in the hospital, and she is insinuating that this is Amy. So she tries to not only set up Amy for shooting her, but she's also trying to set up Amy for killing Carrie. And she gets in front of the police officers and they're interrogating her, and she is telling them that Amy did this and Amy did that, and Amy was pretending that she was Carrie, and they told her, well, we just don't have enough evidence. If we had more evidence, if you could find more evidence, then perhaps, we could listen to this a little bit more and take this more seriously. So right after this happens, right after this conversation, they start getting all of these emails and texts from Amy saying that she did this and she did this and she killed Carrie and she was responsible for all these things. And they knew it was Liz sending them this. They knew it wasn't Amy that had done all these things, and it wasn't Amy that sent these texts. But she had become so unglued. She was just trying to put the focus on Amy now, since they knew Carrie wasn't with us anymore. So Ryan decides it would be best if Dave moved back in with Amy because, well, she was just in danger, and so were the kids, and he could protect her if he was there. And when Liz found this out, she became hysterical, and she called the investigators, and she says, how could she do all this? She gets to shoot me, and she gets to kill Carrie, and she's just out, and no one's doing anything to charge her with these crimes. When she starts sending them all of this evidence that she has, that it was Amy all along, they were able to piece everything together against Liz. So after they get all this information, they do a luminol test on Carrie's car, and they were able to find out that she actually died in the passenger seat of that car. So this is when they decide to charge Liz. It's just a lot of circumstantial evidence, but it is a lot of circumstantial evidence. And the prosecutor decides that she's going to take the case. So Chief Deputy Brenda Beadle is the prosecutor of the case, and she's concerned how this is going to look to the jury and to the judge. It just seemed so far-fetched. She keyed her own car, she stabbed her own clothes, she lit her house on fire, killed her own pets, and then shot herself in the leg. Who in their right mind is going to believe this case? But it went to trial anyway, and they were all 100% dedicated to proving that Liz was the one that committed the crime. Not only did they want to clear Carrie's name, which was just completely dragged through the mud for the last 2 years, but Liz was a complete sociopath. The things that she did were so absolutely crazy. It was just somebody they needed to get off the streets for sure. She would not stop harassing Dave or Amy or the kids. So the court finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant intentionally and premeditatively killed Carrie Farver. And it happened on November 13th, 2012 in Nebraska. So she was charged with life in prison, and thank goodness for poor Dave, who will probably never date again, but at least he is safe from this absolutely crazy woman, and his kids are safe, and his ex is safe, and one day maybe he'll get the nerve to date again. I don't know. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. He sure tried though, didn't he? So thank you all for listening to my video, and I hope to see you guys next week. I've got some good videos dropping at the start of next week, and I hope to see you all there.